Welcome to Mediocre Main Character. I am playing Matches and Matrimony, a Pride and Prejudice tale. This time, the Darcy edition. So I'm thinking this is going to be the last installment, but we'll see. We start part 3 in Hunsford Lodge, Charlotte Lucas and Mr. Collins's love nest. Well, that was a surprise. Indeed, I've heard of Colonel Fitzwilliam, but I had not previously met him. He seemed rather the gentleman. He's not a love interest. He spoke quite directly as well, and with the ease that someone in his position usually speaks. Surely you do not think badly of him. No, he was pleasant enough, though I cannot think to imagine what game Mr. Darcy is playing at to have him ask me to perform. Okay, have a little confidence. We've been building up our skills. Hunsford Parsonage was, as Mr. Collins had always stated, separated only by a lane from Rosings Park, making the journey to Rosings a very easy one. Dinner, which was the only thing standing between me and my performance, came far too quickly, and being overly focused on what would come when the meal was finished, I found myself not enjoying it as I otherwise might have. Thankfully, I was not immediately called upon at the close of dinner to perform, giving me wonder if I might not escape the exhibition. No escape, okay? Darcy specifically talked up our talent. We have to perform. And so I found myself, with only some anxiety, speaking with Colonel Fitzwilliam in the parlor after the meal. I am to understand that you read a good deal. How does he know so much about us? Damn! I'm quite sure the account given to you has been inaccurate, though I do read some. Do you stay current with what's new, or do you tend towards more classic works? Both, though with perhaps a slight tendency towards that which is new. And what of music? What are your tendencies in music? Why is Colonel Fitzwilliam interrogating us? Perhaps a bit more classics, though we are in a great age for music. What is it that you're saying, Fitzwilliam? What is it that you're talking of? What are you telling Miss Bennet? Let me hear what it is. God! Colonel Fitzwilliam seemed desirous to avoid any reply, but he quickly realized he could not. We are speaking of music, madam. Of music? Then pray speak aloud. It is of all subjects my delight. I must have my share in the conversation if you're speaking of music. Wow. Every chance she can big herself up, you can bet that Lady Catherine's going to take it. There are few people in England, I suppose, who have more true enjoyment of music than myself, or a better natural taste. Really? Well, it sure ain't fashion, honey. What is this outfit and hair combo? If I had ever learned, I should have been a great proficient, and so would Anne if her health had allowed her to apply. Yeah, sure, you're an armchair musician then. I'm confident that she would have performed delightfully. How does Georgiana get along, Darcy? Remarkably well. I'm very glad to hear such a good account of her, and pray tell her from me that she cannot expect to excel if she does not practice a good deal. Damn. So Lady Catherine treats her nephews just as badly as she treats everyone else. I assure you, madam, that she does not need such advice. She practices very constantly. It appeared that this is what I was thinking. It appeared that Lady Catherine treated her own nephew with the same impertinent approach. She needs to be knocked down a peg, or 2, or 20. So much the better. It cannot be done too much, and when I next write to her, I shall charge her not to neglect it on any account. I often tell young ladies that no excellence in music is to be required without constant practice. My goodness. Oh my God, stop talking. I can see why Mr. Collins gets along with this old bat. See, like, she just uses every chance to put people down and be a jerk. Like, here she's saying that, we can come over to her place to play the pianoforte anytime we want, as long as we're out of the way in Mrs. Jenkinson's room. See? She would be in nobody's way, in that part of the house. Looking at Mr. Darcy, I believe that he looked a little ashamed of his aunt's ill breeding, and his actions furthered my belief as he made her no answer. Darcy's really good at blanking people, I think. I should very much like to hear you play, Miss Mediocre. And so you shall. Yeah, girl, whip it out. Your talent. Whip out your talent. I had not yet started to play when Colonel Fitzwilliam entered the room. I was somewhat happy to see the Colonel. It was infinitely better than playing to a crowd in another room. After playing a song, I was surprised to see Mr. Darcy, who had been speaking to Lady Catherine for most of the song, join us in the conservatory as I was to begin my second piece. I need to know why he's here because, like, what's the gag? Like, what is this? Are we being punked? Why are you being so nice to us? Why are you talking us up to your cousin? Something doesn't add up. Do you mean to frighten me, Mr. Darcy? You shall not. I will not be alarmed, though your sister does play so well. There's a stubbornness about me that never can bear to be frightened at the will of others. My courage always rises at every attempt to intimidate me. I shall not say you are mistaken, because you could not really believe me to entertain any design of alarming you. I have had the pleasure of your acquaintance long enough to know that you find great enjoyment in occasionally professing opinions which in fact are not your own. You know, he kind of knows us pretty well. I clearly don't know what I'm doing, so let's tell Mr. Darcy that he's being ungenerous. Colonel Fitzwilliam, your cousin will give you a very pretty notion of me and teach you not to believe a word I say. I am particularly unlucky in meeting with a person so able to expose my real character in a part of the world where I'd hoped to pass myself off with some degree of credit. Indeed, Mr. Darcy, it is very ungenerous in you to mention all that you knew to my disadvantage in Hertfordshire, and very impolitic too. And it is provoking me to retaliate, and such things may come out as will shock your relations to hear. I am not afraid of you. Look, we're bantering. And Colonel Fitzwilliam is just sort of like the third wheel right now. Pray, let me hear what you have to accuse him of. I should like to know how he behaves among strangers. Yeah, he looked down on us real bad. You shall hear then, but prepare yourself for something very dreadful. The first time of ever seeing him in Hertfordshire, you must know, was at a ball, and at this ball, what do you think he did? He danced only 4 dances, though gentlemen were scarce, and, to my certain knowledge, more than one young lady was sitting down in want of a partner. Yeah, we're petty like that. We haven't forgotten. Tolerable? Slighted by other men? Mr. Darcy, you cannot deny the fact. Darcy looked thoughtful. I had not at the time the honor of knowing any lady in the assembly beyond my own party. True, and nobody can ever be introduced in a ballroom. Perhaps I should have judged better had I sought an introduction, but I'm ill qualified to recommend myself to strangers. He's shy. Yeah, why? Colonel Fitzwilliam, shall we ask your cousin the reason of this? Shall we ask him why a man of sense and education who has lived in the world is ill qualified to recommend himself to strangers? I can answer your question without applying to him. It is because he will not give himself the trouble. Mr. Darcy paused, as though quite unsure how to respond, and after a silence that caused some discomfort, he spoke on. I certainly have not the talent which some people possess of conversing easily with those I've never seen before. I cannot catch their tone of conversation or appear interested in their concerns, as I often seen done. You know, you can try, bro. My fingers do not move over this instrument in the masterly manner which I see so many women's do. They have not the same force or rapidity, and do not pronounce the same expression. But then I have always supposed it to be my own fault, because I will not take the trouble of practicing. It is not that I do not believe my fingers as capable as any other woman's of superior execution. You're perfectly right. You have employed your time much better. No one admitted to the privilege of hearing you can think anything wanting. We neither of us performed to strangers. It was the first time I'd ever seen Mr. Darcy allowing himself to appear fallible and not focusing on the fallibilities of others. It was strange to see him in this light, but not in a discomforting way. Yeah, because we're seeing the real Darcy, and we misjudged him, because he's maybe a little classist, sure, but not any more than anyone at that time period. And to be honest, he's a bit shy. His smiles and civility were certainly a welcome change from his normal, arrogant manner. Upon finishing the second piece, Lady Catherine called from the other room. Miss Bennet, you would not play at all amiss if you practised more and had the advantage of a London master. You have a very good notion of fingering, though your taste is not equal to my daughter Anne's. Listen, it's a backhanded compliment, but we'll take it. Anne would have been a delightful performer had her health allowed her to learn. I don't know why she reminds me of Wigby. Like, just feeling sorry for herself and, like, making excuses and not admitting that she's the problem. With that, Lady Catherine began to speak anew to Mr. and Mrs. Collins about Anne, finding she'd provided her own segue into one of her favorite subjects. I took the opportunity to end my recital for the evening and moved to the parlor. In the parlor, Lady Catherine made discussions on various topics. She included remarks on my performance, mixed with many instructions on execution and taste. Her discussion continued well into the evening, making Hunsford a welcome sight when we finally turned towards home. For whatever reason, Colonel Fitzpatrick is still stuck in this. Oh, guys, what's going on? Oh, banter. Ooh, spicy. Like, he needs to calm way down. Like, you need to chill. How wonderful the week was. That's nice. Let's check in on our boy. Yep, he's smiling at us. This is good. Good sign. I've been keeping an eye on time, so I think I'll stop here for now. So thanks for watching if you did, and join me next time as we continue the Darcy path.